Well, folks, it's the interview that everybody's talking about. Former Senate candidate Christine O'Donnell getting annoyed and just saying that's it and walking off the set of Piers Morgan tonight.
Well, don't you think as a host, if I say this is what I want to talk about, that's what we should address?
Not really, no. You're a politician.
Yeah, okay, I'm being pulled away. You know, we turned down another interview for this.
Where are you going?
Well, Christine O'Donnell didn't turn down an interview on the Today Show. She actually talked about this incident and how Piers made her feel.
And Piers, for whatever reason, perhaps desperate for ratings, was not letting up in his creepy line of questioning. He throws it in there in the middle of these sex questions that he would not ask with a man. I wanted to stop that borderline sexual harassment that was going on.
Oh, okay, I think
it was
what people
inappropriate and he wasn't stopping.
Borderline sexual harassment, as you can imagine. We've got Piers on the phone, and I just want to add that from Twitter, she also went on to write, Piers, thanks for the invite. Schedule's already packed. Maybe another night. No hard feelings, you cheeky bugger. Piers, you cheeky bugger. I'm ready for you. Sexually harass me right now.
You know, I thought you'd never offer, Kira. It seems her position seems to have toughened overnight, poor Miss O'Donnell, because originally she was seeing the funny side and thought it was all something to be amused by, and now suddenly it's become this very serious situation where she felt that I was being sexist and sexually harassing her and so on. And the bottom line with it is that if you study the whole interview, and of course because of her comments today, we are feeling compelled to re-air the entire interview tonight on my show so that everyone can decide for themselves. You can see that actually all I do is play her own public statements and ask her for comment, and she does discuss all these public statements in her book. And let me remind you, the reason she was doing my interview was to promote the book. So the idea that somehow this is inappropriate, or I think she called me creepy, or any of these things, the only thing that can be inappropriate or creepy are the very things that she discusses in her own book that she has said. So I found the argument that she's putting forward today tenuous, to put it mildly, and I suspect the reaction of somebody who realizes she's made a rather big mistake.
Okay, and you know, let's just lay it out here. Look, you're getting great publicity for this. Everybody's talking about your show. They're booking her to talk to her. They're talking about you, talking about CNN. She's obviously getting great publicity for her book. You know, what's your take? Do you think that this was all a part of the plan?
Well, I don't think it was part of her plan. Certainly, I mean, if you take it back to when we booked her, I don't think you would book Christine O'Donnell right now for ratings. So there's a slight flaw in her strategy because she's not exactly the biggest draw in town. Having said that, I was keen to see, I'd met her in New York about 5-6 months ago and had a cup of tea with her and taught her how to make English breakfast tea. So I thought we got on quite well. And I thought if you watch the interview, that for the first 5-10 minutes, it's all pretty friendly. And I had no real inkling in my mind that when we played her stuff that she talks about honestly and openly in her book, that she would then react in this extraordinary manner. And what was quite good on the Today Show, I thought, was the way the presenter actually pinned her down, Savannah, on the moment she walked out. It had nothing to do with any of the discussion about her views about masturbation or about satanic witchcraft or any of those kind of things, which are well documented but still interesting because she readdresses them in the book. The moment she walked out was when I talked to her about her views on gay marriage. And the reason I asked her that was not to be sexist or creepy or inappropriate, but because quite clearly it is a massively contentious issue right now, particularly for Tea Party candidates, because Michelle Bartman's made some pretty stringent comments about this, and I think it's perfectly journalistically acceptable, and indeed it almost you're compelled to ask that question of anyone like Christine O'Donnell because it is such an issue with their side of the Republican Party. And that was the moment she walked. So to try and pretend now that she was walking out in fury at questions I asked her 10 minutes previously, I think is very disingenuous.
So who are you interviewing tonight? Should we be prepared for any drama?
Well, as I say, we're going to re-air the entire interview.
Oh, the entire interview?
Yeah, she seems to have had a slight amnesia problem over the way the interview went and why she walked out. So we are going to air the whole interview. We'll have some commentary on it. And my invitation to Miss O'Donnell remains the same. If you feel like you can, come back on my show. Let's have round 2. And maybe at some stage in that interview, you could answer the simple question, what do you think of gay marriage?
There you go. The invitation is out there. We'll see what happens. Piers Morgan, thanks so much for calling in, Piers. And thanks for being nice to me.